Now we're going to get into the next matchup, a matchup that was absolutely huge in my eyes of just a different view of a team. We are going into Indiana, Oregon. Now, this Indiana team, again, I have been tough on them. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I have been tough on them. We saw an Indiana team last year with Kurt Signetti that basically bounced around this Big Ten schedule. They had a tough matchup in Ohio State. They couldn't compete in that game. Then they make the college football playoffs. They lose to Notre Dame, couldn't compete in that game. And we saw a team in Indiana that took advantage, won the game that they should have to get in the college football playoffs, but never really showed us anything that they could be an elite team. I had major questions on Kurt Signetti after this game because obviously he was the coach of the year. Everybody was talking about him in such a highlight. And definitely what he did with his Indiana turnaround, even last year, was super impressive. But I always say, what's the point of winning all these games when the ultimate goal is to win a championship? And they named Kurt Signetti coach of the year, and he could not get over any of these elite teams. This year, it's way different. And I believe it's because you have these offensive players going into another year. You have these additions, these complete game changers. Now, this Indiana defense in this Oregon game, I believe, was outstanding. You forced Dante Moore to throw 2 picks. But not only that, a big concern that I had for Oregon, and they got out of the Penn State game. And again, I still believe this Oregon team is a national championship contender. It's just like who's going to step up for them. We see them, obviously, the Mekhi Hughes thing doesn't work out. He redshirts. They have a multitude of different running backs. This Oregon team, for the first time this year, cannot get the run game going. And you got to credit Indiana's defense for that. They have 81 total rushing yards. We see that how many running backs they use. They use 3-4 running backs a game. None of them could get it going. Credit to Indiana for stopping the run. Oregon uses like a hot hand type of mentality, which I have always loved. I love when you put in different type of backs, give a defense different looks. None of them can get anything going. Like we said, Dante Moore, there was 2 interceptions in this game, 2 crucial mistakes. I thought Indiana, Fernando Mendoza threw one of the worst balls to get Oregon back in this game, but luckily for them, on the other side, Dante Moore also made mistakes. And for a game that has 2 top NFL prospects, we saw both of them really make mistakes under pressure, which isn't a good thing. And Oregon's never gonna win one of these big matchups when nobody steps up. We see Malik Benson get a walk-in touchdown off a broken coverage. He gets his only reception for the game. DeCorey Moore gets shut down. I applauded DeCorey Moore for how fast this guy has stepped up in college football. We see him have a decent game against Penn State, which I didn't think was going to happen. We see him against the Cupcakes really produce as a top 3 option. Again, for a true freshman, that's very difficult. But DeCorey Moore, again, a guy that prioritizes a lot of his routes in the slot, a guy that's a great route runner with speed, gets separation. He cannot get anything going. And same thing for a guy in Kenyon Sadiq, who a lot of people have in the first round as the first tight end taken. He is a great blocker, but in this game, this is a game where Kenyon Sadiq has to step up. This guy is a mismatch for linebackers. He's a mismatch for secondary players and cannot get anything going as well. So you saw an Oregon team against an Indiana team who was a top 10 team going into this matchup. Nobody stood out for me. And that's the difference between these 2 teams. Because when you look at the other side, Indiana scoring 30 points, you have a guy in Elijah Sarrett who has been phenomenal all year long. He has 121 yards and a touchdown, 8 receptions. He looked really good. And Omar Cooper has 7 receptions in this game as well. So they have 2 guys that are really good receivers in college football. And then Roman Hemby also has 2 touchdowns. They have a good run game as well. They get 111 yards rushing. Fernando Mendoza, like I said, he made one of the worst mistakes you could possibly make in this game. I thought the pick 6, when he made that and Oregon tied up the game, they had momentum. I really thought this game was going to be over. That's a mistake that I'm saying it right now. Fernando Mendoza cannot make that mistake in another big game. The only reason he was able to overcome that mistake, and I give credit to him, after he threw this pick 6, he came down, led them to a touchdown drive. Again, I love the mental toughness there. A lot of guys would have been completely rattled in Eugene, giving up a pick 6. A lot of guys would have had a 3 and out the next drive. He comes down, gets them the lead again. But the only reason why he was able to survive a pick 6 against a major opponent was because of how well his defense played. His defense forced turnovers, and Dante Moore had 2 interceptions on the other side. But like I said, I'm saying it right now against other top 5, top 10 teams, you're not going to be able to throw that pick six. That pick six was absolutely horrible. It was a momentum shifter. Like I said, I give him the mental toughness, but an underthrown ball with a walk-in touchdown, that cannot happen. But it really seemed to me the difference in this game, like I said, how Indiana's weapons stepped up. Like these guys stepping up against a top 10 opponent really shows a lot that these guys are legit weapons. And not only does the offense look better this year with Omar Cooper Jr., with Elijah Sarek, with Roman Hemby, these guys going into another year. Like Fernando Mendoza compared to last year, like again, O'Rourke, this guy was an undrafted NFL guy or a late NFL guy that went to the 49ers. Like now you have for a first 2 round NFL quarterback, that makes a big difference as well. We saw Indiana do really well in the transfer portal, upgrade this offense even more from last year. And credit to Curt Cignetti, he completely turned around this program. And now I am a believer in this Indiana team. I usually always say it like I like to give takes before they happen. But for me, I said it. I need to see this Indiana team really compete with an elite team. Because last year, like I said, they bounced around their schedule. They beat who they should have beat. And then when they ran into truly elite football teams, they couldn't compete. Well, now they beat a top 3 team in Oregon, a national championship contender. They completely outplayed them. I thought the defense was phenomenal. Like I said, forcing multiple turnovers in this game. And to me, Indiana's offense looked a lot better than Oregon. Nobody on Oregon could get anything going, whether it was in the run game, whether it was in the pass game. Nobody could stand out. This was a concern to me about Oregon. Again, I let it go because they got past Penn State. But if Oregon is going to want to win a national championship, guys have to stand out. You're going to need big games out of the Corian Moore, Kenyon Sadiq. You're going to need this running back by committee game to produce. And like I said, the biggest thing, once you shut down this run game for a team, it gets them uncomfortable. We said it in the last game. We said it in this game. You shut down the run. That's a huge difference. Indiana gets this win. I think it's a huge win for Indiana Curt Cignetti. This is the game that puts them in a different light. Now we look at them as true national championship contenders. They're the number 3 team in the country, and they flat out deserve it. They have, I don't want to say a walk-in path to make the college football playoffs, but this is a team also that now can compete for the Big Ten championship as well. We look at their remaining schedule: Michigan State, UCLA, Maryland, Penn State, which we thought was going to be really tough, but now with Penn State, who knows? Wisconsin, Purdue. Like this team could have one loss. This team could be undefeated if they take care of everything. And you could see Indiana in the Big Ten championship. Wow, that's crazy to say. When you look at Penn State, Oregon, Ohio State, Michigan, all these big schools, Indiana is back in the mix. Could easily be in the Big Ten championship. They're 6-0. They got everything right in front of them to have a major seed in the college football playoffs. And credit to Curt Cignetti as well, like for turning around his program and his story. Like